The morning of the Saint's Day dawned bright and brittle, a cold sun shining over the bustling capital. From my window, I could see the main thoroughfare already packed. Vendors shouted, children darted between legs, and bright banners snapped in the wind. Today, the city would celebrate the kingdom's patron saint, and more importantly, the victorious return of its armies. "Ilara, I can't find my other ribbon," a small voice wailed. "And my tunic is scratchy," another complained. I turned from the window with a patient smile. My two youngest siblings, Fen and Lyra, were in a state of delightful chaos in the middle of my bedchamber. At 12 and 7 years old, they were a whirlwind of energy and mischief, and since our mother's passing 3 winters ago, I had become their unofficial guardian. "You can take mine. They're in the top drawer, Lyra," I said, moving to help them. "And yours just needs to be worn in, Fen. Come here." As I fixed Fen's collar, I looked at their reflections in the mirror. They had our father's amber, curious eyes and light red hair. I had mother's gray eyes and her reddish bright hair, currently flowing simply over one shoulder. My own gown for the day was plain. I would not be attending the grand procession. A secret thrill warmed me as I remembered the note, now tucked safely in my sleeve, delivered by the king's own page. "My dearest Ilara," it had read, "the ceremonies will be long and dull. Spare yourself the tedium. Rest and save your life for the feast tonight, where I may enjoy it without the distraction of 1,000 others. Yours, R." It was a lover's request, a king's command. To me, it was proof that King Ronan, my childhood friend, my secret sweetheart since he'd pulled her from the icy lake all those years ago, saw me more than just Lord Theron's daughter and friends. "Will the king ride by?" Lyra asked, now satisfied with her hair. "Yes, on his big white horse," I said. "I heard the soldiers talking in the yard," Fen said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "They said the prince who won the war is scary. They said he's like a monster." "Fen, don't say that," Lyra scolded, but she looked at me for confirmation. I sighed. "Prince Valerius is the king's stepbrother. He's been away in the battlefield for a long time. It changes people. It doesn't make them monsters." I said it firmly, though I knew little of the man. He was a shadow in the stories of the court, older, stern, rarely seen. The king spoke of him with a distant, formal respect. "I still want to see him," Fen muttered, fascinated by the idea of a real-life monster hero. "Well, you'll see the king first," I said, steering them toward the door. "But first, we must fetch your new cloaks from Master Teller's shop. You can't greet a king in last year's wool." On our way, the streets were a river of noise and color. I have to keep an eye on Fen so he won't fall out of the window. The mood was festive, but edged with a new tension. Grim-faced men in gray and black livery, the colors of Prince Valerius's personal guard, stood watch on corners, their eyes scanning the merry crowds with silent scrutiny. The tailor's shop was a welcome pocket of quiet warmth, smelling of new cloth and beeswax. As Master Teller helped Fen with his clasp's clasp, I sat and watched while Lyra checked some dress. When suddenly, the shop bell chimed. Lady Celia, the daughter of Lord Goffley, my rival, she was dressed for the procession in pink-yellow dress, her smile as chilly as her gown. Behind was her sycophant friend, Helena, clinging to her elbow like a barnacle. "Oh, look who we have here, Lady Ilara," Celia said, her eyes sweeping over me with mild disdain. "Not joining the spectacle? I'd have thought you'd be front and center securing your position as king's concubine." Helena laughs. "Ex-concubine, you mean?" "I don't think it's any of your business," I replied evenly, turning my attention to Lyra. Celia laughs. "Oh, my Helena, I don't think she knows." Helena smiles. "Then we should tell her, as the good friends we are." "Of course," Celia answered. You should conserve your energy, Celia said, pretending to examine a roll of velvet. Soon you'll be sharing a bed with a monster. I stilled. What? Helena shrugs. Celia's eyes gleamed with cruel delight. You don't know? Your upcoming marriage. The whole court is talking. It was the king's first decree this morning. A brilliant political move, really, rewarding his savage stepbrother with a tame, high-born wife. But a monster's wife can be called a noble lady? They laugh. The world narrowed. The shop's warmth vanished. That's a vile lie, I heard myself say, my voice strangely calm. Is it? Ask your father. The decree is signed. You are to be Prince Valerius's trophy. Celia gave a delicate shudder that was all performance. I do pity you, but one must serve the realm. With a final smug glance. She's lying. My Ronan will never do that, I say to myself. I smile. Serve the realm, you say. Why don't you go back home and continue serving your father's knights? How dare you? Celia shout. It's just a rumor. I would never do such. Let's go, Helena. And with that, they left. A heavy silence filled the shop. Then Fen's small hand gripped me tightly. Ilara? Fen whispered. What does she mean? I looked at their frightened, confused faces. Stay and rest, the king's note had said. She's lying, I said. She's just being cruel. Let's go home. The journey back was a blur of distorted sound and color. My siblings were silent, picking up on my terror. Every laugh from the crowd felt like a mockery. We found Father, Lord Farron, in his study. He wasn't reading, he was just standing, staring out at the courtyard, his broad shoulders slumped. He turned as we entered, and his face, usually so strong and kind, was a mask of grief. Papa! They ran to him. He hugged them before telling them to go get their new cloak. They left. Father? I said, her voice trembling. I heard something impossible today. He closed his eyes briefly, as if in pain. When he opened them, they shone with unshed tears. It is true. The king summoned me at dawn. Prince Valerius is to be granted a bride of noble lord to cement his loyalty. The king, he chose you. It is a royal decree. To refuse, he couldn't finish. To refuse was treason. I couldn't do anything. But he wouldn't, I pleaded, a desperate child in her voice. He loves me. He's always cared for me. He saved me. But he is the king, his father said, each word heavy with defeat, and he has given you away. The finality of it crashed over her. The note, the kindness, the secret smiles, all of it a lie to keep her compliant until the trap was sprung. A violent surge of denial and rage burned through the shock. No. Ilara, no. I whirled and ran from the room, her father's call echoing behind her. She flew through the halls. The cold air in the royal carriage did nothing to cool the fire in my veins. I stared out at the passing trees. The tears began to fall. He lied. The words hammered in my skull with the rhythm of the horse's hooves. The king, Ronan, my sweetheart, my savior from the lake, a liar. No, he can't be. My thoughts were soft, sad. Hear him out. Let him explain. The carriage clattered to a halt at the palace's side gate. I shoved the door open myself before a footman could move and strode toward the postern gate. 2 guards were staying by the gate. No entrance, my lady. Royal orders. I didn't break stride. Move. My lady, we cannot... I kicked his knee and drew his weapon. If you make me stand here and repeat myself again, I will ensure your next post is in the midden-heap cesspits of the northern border for the next 10 years. Do you understand? The guard blinked, his certainty wavering. I was a noble, and my fury was a tangible force. With a hesitant glance at his companion, "I apologize, my lady." He lowered his head, and the other guard followed his suit. I swept past them without a second glance. I knew these halls. I'd played in them as a child, dreamed in them as a girl in love. Now they felt like a trap. I didn't go to the throne room or the receiving chambers. I went straight to the king's private solar. The guards here knew me too well to stop me. I threw the door open. Ronan, my supposed lover, was drinking. "Really?" I muttered. He looked up, and for a second, genuine shock flickered across his face. "Ilara, what are you... You shouldn't..." "What is the meaning of all this?" I said. Ronan's smile tightened. "I know you're upset." "Upset?" I let out a harsh, humorless laugh. "You sold me to your brother with a decree? Why?" He sighed, the picture of a burdened ruler. He walked toward me. "You think I wanted this? You think this was my choice?" His voice dropped to a pained whisper. "He is trying to eliminate me, Ilara." The words hung in the air. "What?" "Valerius," Ronan said, his face etched with believable fear. "He returns not a hero, but a conqueror. The court whispers. The army adores him. They see a weak king on the throne. That's what they call me, behind my back. The weak king. And he wants it." He stepped closer, his eyes pleading. "Giving you to him, it was the only thing I could think of. A show of immense trust, to placate him." My fury stalled, tangled in this new, horrifying thread. Placate him? Yes, and more. Ronan grasped my face. I stiffened, but didn't pull away. "You will be inside his walls. You can be my eyes, my ears. He will trust you as his wife. You can learn his plans, his allies, find the evidence of his treason. When we have it, the court will see him for the viper he is. We can be rid of him, together." He was clinging to my hands now, his touch once my greatest comfort, now feeling like a chain. "You want me to spy on your own brother?" "Yes, but he will never be your true husband," Ronan hissed, his gaze intense. "This is a mission, Ilara, for me, for us, for our future. Once he is gone, everything can be as it was meant to be. You and I, married." I stood rigid within it, my mind reeling. The story was monstrous, but it fit the shadowy rumors of Valerius. And Ronan, he was scared. He was the boy from the lake, out of his depth. He needed me. "But why didn't you tell me?" I heard myself ask, my voice small, the fury momentarily shrouded in the fear of a girl who thought she'd lost her love. "I was so scared you didn't want me anymore." He held me tighter, his voice a soothing murmur against her hair. "Oh, my love, never. I adore you. I did this to protect you, to keep you close to this threat so we can defeat it. You must be brave now, for us. Do this for us." He met my forehead, the gesture full of tender promise. "Go home, prepare for the ceremony, play your part, and watch for me, okay?" I nodded. "Okay." Then he pulled me into a hug. My fury was banked, smothered under his embrace of duty, pity, and a rekindled, desperate hope. He loved me. He needed me. It was a secret mission, not a betrayal, and I will do anything for my love. The next day, I woke to dawn of the hollow pit of reality in my stomach. Today was the day. Before I could even rise, my chamber door burst open. Fen and Lyra tumbled in, their faces pale with worry. "Ila!" Lyra scrambled onto the bed. "The servants are all talking. They say you have to go to the monster's castle today." "Fen, What about the king? I thought he liked you." I looked at their terrified faces. I could not tell them the truth, the dangerous, treasonous truth Ronan had entrusted me with, but I forced my lips into a tired but reassuring smile. "He does. It's just complicated," I said, pulling them close. It's not what you think. The prince is not well liked in court. The king is doing this to keep the peace. It's a political marriage, for the good of the realm." "But you have to live with him," Fen whispered, horrified. "For a little while," Ilara said, the lie smooth now, coated in the purpose Ronan had given me. "It's my duty, like father says, and the king, he still cares for me. He explained everything." I touched Lyra's cheek. "You mustn't be afraid, and you mustn't speak badly of the prince or the king to anyone. Do you understand?" Seeing my calm demeanor, they slowly nodded, their panic subsiding into confused acceptance. "Now," I said, throwing back the covers, the mask firmly in place, "I believe we have a wedding to attend." Chapter 3: The Exile. I stood in my father's hall, the scratch of a quill the only sound. There was no ceremony, no flowers, no groom. My husband, the man I was bound to by law and royal decree, was not here. According to the stone-faced knight, Prince Valerius had been summoned by the king to deal with urgent wolf packs troubling the northern border. A pathetic excuse. Ronan couldn't even let me have the dignity of being insulted to my face on my own wedding day. He had to orchestrate the insult from afar. Well, I guess that proved he still cares for me. His second, a man introduced only as Gavrel, stood across the table from me. He was all scarred knuckles, tattoos, and worn leather, with a beard and eyes that looked at the parchment, the wall, the floor, anywhere but me. He signed his lord's name with a brutal efficiency that spoke of a man more used to holding a sword than a pen. If he's so busy chasing wolves, why do I have to go today? I thought, the fury a cold, hard stone in my stomach. I could stay for a week, a month. Let the man get his borders in order first. But the decree was clear. Signatures were exchanged. I watched as my future was blotted into existence with dark ink. It took less than a minute. The worst part came next. Fen and Lyra, who had been held back by a maid, broke free and latched onto my legs like tiny, desperate barnacles. Their wails echoed in the high ceiling. Don't go with the monster!" Lyra sobbed. "I'll fight him. I'll be big soon," Fen declared, his little body trembling with the effort of not crying, though tears were streaming down his face. I kneeled, my own throat tight. "Shh, my brave ones. It's not forever. I'll see you soon." I reached for their wet cheeks, pried their small hands from my gown, and felt a piece of my heart tear away. My father pulled me into a crushing embrace. His voice was a low, furious rumble in my ear, meant for no one else. "Listen to me. If he hurts you, if he so much as looks at you with ill intent, you send word. I will burn his damned keep to the ground and get you out. Do you understand?" I nodded, tears threatening for a different reason. He would defy a prince for me. He had no idea I was already an agent for a king. "I'll be fine, father," I whispered. "Don't worry. Soon," I promised myself, "Ronan and I will fix this and I'll be home." The carriage ride to the eastern border was an eternity of jolting misery. I tried to sleep, but my head kept knocking against the wooden frame. Then suddenly, my thoughts were a storm. I was married to a stranger, a man whose face I couldn't even picture. My mind painted grotesque images, a boar's tusks, a melted eye, a perpetual snowl. Frustrated, I shoved the curtain aside. Sir Gavril rode alongside, his posture rigid.
Sorry, I didn't get your name, I lied, hoping to start conversation. Gavrel, he said, plainly. Okay, no last name, noted. So, what does my husband look like? A grunt? A man? Helpful. Is he tall? Yes. His hair? Hair. Color? Hair colored. I slammed the window shut. So annoying and grumpy. Can't even help a lady in distress? I was the inconvenient parcel they'd been ordered to deliver. I give up. We finally arrived as the sun bled into the hills. Blackwood Keep wasn't a palace. It was a fortress, all grim gray stone and narrow windows, hunched against the wind on a rocky outcrop. It looked like a clenched fist. A few hardy, thorny weeds were the only decoration. So this is my new cage, I thought. Ronan couldn't even grant his loyal brother a comfortable prison for his spy. The portcullis groaned up. Gavrel dismounted and strode inside without a backward glance. Am I meant to follow him, or should I just stand in the courtyard until I fossilize? I muttered under my breath. Clutching my small valise, I hurried after his retreating back. What an arrogant man! The inside was exactly what I expected. Stark, cold, smelling of damp stone. Then an old woman emerged from a side arch, wiping her hands on an apron. She had a kind, wrinkled face and sharp eyes that immediately took in the scene. Gavrel, you lumbering oaf! You let the lady carry her own bag? Have you no manners bred into that thick skull, or did the war knock them all out? Gavrel
Just grunted something that might have been, "Not my lady." The old woman shook her head and bustled over to take my bag from me. "Pay him no mind, my dear. Welcome, my lady. I'm Mrs. Poplin. Everyone calls me Pop. Come, you must be exhausted." I just smile at her. "Thank you." She led me up a spiraling staircase to a room in the west tower. It was different. The stone was the same, but a thick, light blue wool rug covered the floor. The bedding was a deep, soft, were a shade of light blue that just happened to be my favorite. A coincidence. It had to be. But how can a lord's room be this colorful? Is this my husband's room? "Oh no," Pop smiled. "This is yours, my lady." "Oh, luckily I won't be sharing a room with a man I don't know. That's a relief," I said to myself. "Rest here, dear. I'll bring some stew up," Pop said. "Please, don't trouble yourself. Perhaps one of the maids?" I stopped. I hadn't seen a single other woman since I entered. Not one. Poplin's kind face softened with understanding. "No maids, I'm afraid. We do have a few who comes in the morning to clean and get other things ready, but for now it's just me. The men here, they're knights. The prince keeps a small household, and what with the rumors," she waved a dismissive hand, "no one wants to be an official maid yet. But bah! Monsters! People will believe any foolishness. You'll see, he's a good man. Pays fair and doesn't suffer fools, that's all." Before I could process her defense of my monstrous husband, the door thudded open. Davril stood there, dropping my remaining trunk on the floor with a final jarring thump that echoed in the small room. "Hey!" I snapped, my patience shattering. "There are delicate things in there." He turned and left, his boots echoing down the stone hall. I stared at the closed door, then at the trunk. Poplin gave me a sympathetic pat. "I'll fetch that stew." Alone, I sank onto the edge of the bed. A good man? Pop was clearly a loyal old soul, seeing what she wanted to see. But as I looked around at the strangely thoughtful room and replayed the utter, disdainful indifference of every single man who had brought me here, a new, cold clarity settled over me. They didn't just fear their prince, they hated me. Chapter 4. The Night in the Dark. I awoke with a groan, stiff and disoriented. The room was dark, lit only by a single guttering candle. I'd slept right through the evening. On the small table sat a covered wooden bowl, the stew, and a large pitcher of steaming water beside a copper basin. Someone had been in while I slept. Mrs. Poplin, it had to be. A small, grateful smile touched my lips. At least one person in this frozen fortress didn't view me as a plague. The bath was a fleeting luxury, the warm water easing the ache of the journey. The stew was simple but hearty, but the water in the pitcher was almost gone, and a deep thirst had taken root. Or at least that's what the excuse I gave myself as I slipped a heavy shawl over my nightdress and eased my door open. The truth was, the silence was gnawing at me. The mission Ronan had given me pulsed in my veins. Be my eyes. The stone corridor was empty, lit by torches in iron sconces. I moved like a shadow, my bare feet silent on the cold stone. I passed several doors, all closed. I could hear the faint rumble of men's voices from somewhere deep below, the barracks perhaps, but no kitchen sounds, no clatter of pans. At the end of the hall was one last door, slightly ajar, a sliver of warm firelight spilling onto the floor. It looked like the kitchen, I guess. My heart thumped against my ribs. Or a knight's quarters, the commander's room. But spies didn't shy away from closed doors. I pushed it open and slipped inside. It was a simple room, a large bed, a sturdy table, a hearth with a low fire. No tapestries, no rugs. Definitely not the kitchen. I was about to leave when I saw it. On the table sat a jug of water and a small, familiar-looking porcelain plate. On it were 4 honey-sweet cakes, dusted with sugar, the very kind they sold in the capital, my favorite. This knight has a sweet tooth, I thought, a strange, petty jealousy curling in my stomach. How dare someone here have a simple, pleasant treat? Before I could think better of it, I plucked one from the plate. It melted on my tongue, a burst of sweetness that was achingly familiar. They won't mind if I take one, maybe 2. I took a second. Suddenly, I felt a hunted gaze on me. I froze. The last of the sweet cake turned to dust in my mouth. Don't turn. The voice was not Gavril's. It was deeper, quieter, with a rough texture like stone worn smooth by a river. It came from the corner of the room near the hearth, shrouded in shadow. I'm sorry, I stammered, my back still to him. I was looking for the kitchen. I got lost. No answer. I heard the faint rustle of cloth, the subtle creak of leather, the sound of a large muscle shifting weight. My mind painted terrifying pictures. What is he doing? Don't tell me he's... I'm leaving now, I said, forcing steel into my voice. I'm sorry I took 2 sweets. You can't hurt me, okay? I'm the lady of this house. You might not know, but I'm... A low, soft chuckle cut me off. It wasn't cruel. It was... tired. Amused. I know. The voice was closer now. He had stepped into the edge of the firelight behind me, I guess. You can take the snacks. They're yours. I brought them for you earlier, but you were asleep. I froze completely. The air vanished from my lungs. It's him! My husband! The monster! He was in the room. He had been watching me steal sweets from his plate. A tremor started deep in my core, a violent shiver I fought to suppress. Stories flooded my mind, terrifying tales of brides and wedding nights, of consummation. Was that why he was here, in the dark? The footsteps grew nearer. His shadow enveloped my own. Can I turn now? My voice was a thread. Do you want to? That quiet Riverstone voice held no threat, only a strange, solemn curiosity. Yes, the word was out before I could reconsider. But you are shaking, my lady.
I'm not. I clenched my fists, nails biting into my palms. Can't I see the face of the man I married? A beat of silence. Then turn. I turned. My breath caught. He stood a few feet away, just outside the direct firelight, but close enough to see. He was tall, taller than I'd imagined, his shoulders filling the space. He wore a simple dark trousers and a linen shirt, the sleeves rolled to his elbows, revealing forearms corded with muscle and old, pale scars. But it was his face that held me. He wore a half mask of dark, polished leather, covering the left side from temple to jaw. But the right side, his hair was the color of summer wheat, exactly like Ronan's, but longer, tied carelessly back. And his eyes, they were the clear, pale blue of a winter sky, watching me with an intensity that felt like a physical touch. There was no cruelty in them, only a deep, weary vigilance. He wasn't a monster. He was a man, a wounded, masked man. I wonder how he looks under that mask, the thought sprang, unbidden and immediate. I am Valerius, he said, as if introducing himself at a court dance. You should not wander alone. It isn't safe. The keep has blind spots. Mrs. Poplin will give you a full tour tomorrow. Whatever you need, ask her. We are looking for a maid for you. It's been difficult to find women willing to come this far east. I just nodded, my mind reeling. This was the ruthless beast, the threat to the realm? He spoke like a weary landlord, not a tyrant. Thank you, I managed, for the sweets. A ghost of something, almost a smile, touching the visible corner of his eyes. The sweets. I remembered they were your favorite. He remembered. How? From some report? The coincidence was staggering. I should go. I took a step back towards the door, my heart still hammering. Elara, he said, my name quietly. It sounded different in his voice. This is your home now. You do not intrude. You just got lost. He walked to the door and opened it for me. The gesture was startlingly courteous. I slipped past him, catching a faint scent of leather, pine, and cold night air. Sleep well, he said to my back as I fled into the dark hall. I ran quickly. The image of his winter sky eyes burned into my mind. When I reached my room, the room with the blue drapes, he must...
Chapter 5. The Longing. Valerius. I returned to the keep long after dark, the scent of pine and cold night clinging to my clothes. The wolf hunt had been a farce, as I knew it would be. Another of Ronan's petty plays, a final insult to ensure I missed my own wedding. 8 years. 8 years of battle and mud and holding a breaking line, all so my brother could sit on a gilded throne and spin rumors. The king's hound, the monster of the court. He crafted my reputation with the care of a poet, each campaign yielding not just victory, but a fresh horror story for the court. Let them hate me. Fear was a sharper weapon than love, and a safer armor for a man who wanted nothing to do with the throne. But this, giving me a wife, this was a new kind of poison. I told myself I didn't care about the ceremony, or about her anymore. What was there to see? The legal transfer of a political hostage? Yet a bitter, hidden part of me had wondered. A girl like her, raised on ballads and courtly romance, would have wanted the music, the flowers, the spectacle. She would have deserved it. And I, a part of me, the part that wasn't the monster, had wanted to give her that, but it wouldn't have made things easy. Earlier, when I returned, everywhere was silent. My own footsteps were the only sound. I went to the West Tower first, moving like a ghost. I told myself, this is duty. I'm supposed to introduce myself to her. But I know I was only lying to myself. I wanted to see her. I stopped. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open just enough to see. She was asleep. curled on her side in the center of the large bed, one hand tucked under her cheek. The fire had died to embers, painting her in soft, dancing shadows. She looked older now, more beautiful. The defiant set of her jaw was soft. Her hair, the color of roses, spilled across the pillow. She was so beautiful it was a physical ache, a sharp, stupid pain right beneath my ribs. My hand lifted, almost of its own will. I wanted to touch, just to brush a strand of hair from her forehead. I stopped myself, fingers curling into a fist so tight my knuckles cracked. Idiot. She isn't yours. She was just a spy, and touching her would be the first step into a trap neither of us could escape. She'd hate me. She still likes him. You're a monster for accepting this marriage. Ronan's decree, my foot. You could easily threaten him with a few things here and there, and he would take that decree back. But you chose to take her, to keep her from the man she loves. I turned away, refusing to listen the voice in my head. Then I saw the tray then. Poplin had left stew in a pitcher. Good, she was eating. I had the honey cakes in my other hand, wrapped in cloth, a foolish, sentimental impulse I'd picked up in the capital. I told myself it was strategy, a benign offering to confuse her. But looking at her sleeping, so utterly defenseless, the lie tasted sour. She didn't need my confusing gifts. She needed to never have come here. I turned to leave and took the stupid cakes away. Minutes later, I was getting ready to take a shower when I heard the faintest shuffle. I froze. The door pushed wider, and there she was, framed in the dim light from the hall, a rabbit caught on the threshold. Her eyes were huge, fixed not on me, but on the table where the snacks sat. She hadn't seen me yet, lurking in the deeper shadow by the bed. I watched, motionless, as the spy in her overcame the scared girl. She crept toward the table, her gaze darting around the room. Her hand hovered over the honey cakes. She bit her lip. Then, with a quick, guilty motion, she took one, and then another. And something in my hardened, battle-weary chest cracked open. She was stealing the honey cake. Cute, but I should warn her not to next time. It could be poisoned. But I didn't when I saw those eyes. Word refused to form. Oh, Elara. I smiled at the memory. She even said she was the lady of the house, mine. But the smile faded as quickly as it came. She was scared of me. She ran. The thought was a cold stone in my gut. Of course she was. She'd been handed over to the realm's favorite nightmare. She trembled like a leaf in a storm when I stood behind her, every instinct in her screaming that the monster was about to claim his prize. She doesn't deserve this. A wedding by decree, a husband who wears a mask. She deserved better. So, when are we going to get rid of her? I didn't startle at the voice. I'd known Gavril was there for a full minute, lurking in the connected armory doorway. I rubbed my temple where an old ache was forming. I've told you to stop doing that. And I've told you that marrying your brother's pet viper was a mistake, Gavril grunted, moving into the light. His face was all grim angles. She's not here to make you happy, Val. She's here to bury you as a spy. I know. Do you? Because you just gave her a tour of your weaknesses. Honey cakes, a pretty room. You're handing your brother a ledger of your sentimentalities. She was scared of me, I said, the words hollow. Good, Gavril said, not unkindly. It was a soldier's kindness. Let her be scared. Fear is honest. It keeps you alive. She's poison. She'll use you. He was right. Ronan had crafted the perfect weapon, a beautiful, hated bride who carried my own forgotten heart as her ammunition. I looked at the door she'd vanished through. I could still see the shape of her in the air. I know, I repeated, quieter this time. But knowing something and feeling it are two different things. And in the war for this keep, for my sanity, I was already losing. Because a monster wouldn't care that she'd trembled, and I cared far too much. I turned to Gavriel. You're right, but don't forget, she's still my wife, so you will treat her with respect. She's not a prisoner. She's the Lady of Blackwood Keep. The men will understand this. Anyone who does not will answer to me. He held my gaze, searching for the weakness. He found it, but he also found the command. He gave a sharp single nod. As you say, my lord. As he turned to go, I added, and Gavriel? He stopped. Stop sneaking up on me. He grunted that might have been amusement. When he was gone, the silence felt heavier. The memory of her fear was a fresh wound. Despite the trap, despite the hatred she must carry, I had one order left to give, to myself this time. Keep her safe, even from me.
Chapter 6. Alara. 3 weeks and a day. That's how long I'd been a wife who'd seen her husband exactly once in a dark room for less than 5 minutes. At first, I thought I'd go mad. The silence of the keep was a living thing, pressing in on me. But Pop, Mrs. Poplin, was a force of nature. She gave me a tour of the stone labyrinth, pointing out the sunny patch in the South Bailey and the less drafty corridor as if they were great attractions. We baked bread. She yelled that a lady shouldn't knead dough, but I did it anyway. What else was there to do? Stare at the grim-faced knights as they trained? I'd tried that. It was about as entertaining as watching rocks erode. I offered them refreshments, tried to make small conversation. Speaking of knights, I'd tried a campaign of friendliness. Smiles, casual questions about the weather. Most met me with stony silence or a grunt before finding urgent business elsewhere. Never called me stupid, they just bow. Well, I did made one friend, though. George, the youngest of them, with a face still waiting for its first real scar and a smile that actually reached his eyes. He'd told me about his home village. He was sweet. And of course, he was Gavriel's subordinate, which meant our friendship was doomed. Gavriel's glare could curdle milk at 50 paces. My one victory was the library, a dusty place with 2 shelves that didn't fit with the rest. They were full of romance chapbooks and children's tales. The Brave Knight. I'd loved those stories once. Now they seemed like lies written for a simpler girl. I'd moved on to the practical shelves, burying myself in alchemy texts and herbals. I'd learned how to identify feverfew and comfrey, how to prepare a poultice for swelling. My mother had passed away of a wasting sickness 3 years ago, the court physicians shrugging in helpless confusion. I'd promised myself I'd never feel that helpless again. My eyes drifted from the page on willow bark to the window. Down in the courtyard, he was there, training, my supposed husband. We hadn't breathed the same air since that night. It felt deliberate. Oh, the excuses were always ready. He was overseeing the reconstruction of the damaged eastern wall. He was hunting the elusive wolf packs. He was meeting with border lords. He returned every night. I didn't peek, but a place this size has a rhythm, and his return was a low, seismic shift in it. But he might as well have been a ghost. Anytime I tried to approach him, he is already 10 feet away, like he knows I'm behind him, even without turning. Is he avoiding me? Or did he know I'm a spy? No, if he knew I was Ronan's spy, he could have ended me already, thrown me from the tower and called it an accident. The fact that I was alive, baking bread and reading and planting herbs, was either a good sign or a very, very bad one. Shaking off the thought, I went to the kitchen to help Pop. There was nothing to do. "The lads are in a mood," she said, wiping her hands. "They're fetching a cask from the village. Some of the injured men from the battle were back on their feet. The Lord mean to celebrate their recovery tonight," she said. A party, a gathering. My heart gave a traitorous little leap. This is my chance. If I could be there, finally talk to him, be near Valerius in a casual setting, let him see I wasn't a trembling mouse, I could build a sliver of trust. It was the first step of the mission, the necessary step. I spent the afternoon in a whirlwind. I needed a dress, something that said Lady of the Keep, not frightened something knightly. I found a simple blue gown, but well made, my mind racing with plans. My first appearance, a chance to observe him, to listen, to begin. As dusk fell, I heard it, the faint swell of music from the lower hall, laughter, the clank of tankards. My pulse quickened. I waited, and waited, and waited. No one came, no invitation, no summons. I sat on the edge of my bed, the blue dress feeling silly now. The music grew louder, more raucous. They were celebrating without me. Of course they were. I was the outsider, the unwanted complication. I couldn't stand it. I marched to Pop's small chamber on the other side of the kitchens. She was already in her nightgown, brushing out her thin hair. "Pop," I said, trying to keep my voice light, "am I not invited to the celebration too?" She turned, her face softening with a pity that made my cheeks burn. "Oh, my dear, it's just the boys letting steam. It's no place for a lady, all sweat and tall tales and worse." "But I'm the lady of the keep," I said, the words sounding hollow even to me. "Shouldn't I acknowledge George's recovery? Shouldn't I be there?" She set her brush down and came over, taking my hands. Her palms were warm and rough. "You're the Lord, his wife. This is your home. If the invitation is lost, you don't wait for another. You go and find out why." Her words echoed in the silent corridor as I walked back to my room. He is my husband. This is my home. He was also the man who might know I'm a spy, the man who hid behind a mask and a wall of silence. But Pop was right. Waiting was a form of surrender, and I had a king's mission, a father's worry, and my own suffocating curiosity to answer. I looked at the blue dress, then I looked at the door. The music from below was a challenge, and for the first time since I arrived, the mission and my own pride aligned perfectly. It was time to stop being a ghost in my own marriage. It was time to crash a party. Chapter 7. The Feast of Fools. I stepped out of the corridor and into the roar. The great hall was a cave of noise, smoke, and sweat. Men lined the long tables, some dancing, drinking. The air was thick with the smell of eel and roasting meat. My brave exit froze at the threshold. All eyes swung to me, dozens of them, drunk, curious, assessing. I was a rabbit who'd just hopped into the wolf den. I forced a smile and a vague wave. "Please continue." George, his face flushed with drink and happiness, beamed and waved me over. "My lady, come have a—" Gavrel's hand clamped on his brother's shoulder, yanking him back into his seat with a glare that could freeze hell. So much for my one friend. Seeing no other option, my chin went up. I walked straight to the head of the table, Valerius's place, I assumed, and sat down. A brimming horn of dark ale before me. I stared at it. I'd never had more than watered wine. This looked like liquid rebellion. My fingers closed around the cool horn. A hand, large and calloused, covered mine before I could lift it. "What are you doing here?" His voice was low. A rumble felt through my bones more than heard over the din. He was close, so close I could feel his breath on my shoulder, the faint scent of leather and cold night air cutting through the ale fumes. The grip on my hand didn't loosen. I turned my head slightly, looking up at the hard line of his jaw below the mask. "If you would introduce me to them as your lady, it wouldn't be a problem, would it? Or do you not acknowledge me as your wife because I'm not a fierce enough woman for your company?" He went very still. The noise of the hall seemed to recede. Then, without a word, his other hand was on my elbow, guiding me up. "Follow me, we'll talk, not here." He didn't wait for agreement. I walked beside him, back straight, feeling every stare burn into me. We exited through a side archway onto a narrow balcony overlooking the dark mountains. The cold air was a shock, sobering. The sound of the feast became a dull roar behind thick stone. He leaned on the balcony, his back to me. "Don't ever say you're not enough," he said, his voice rough. "I should be the one saying that." I blinked. "What do you mean? And why don't you want me around your nights?" Because they are men, he said, still not facing me. They will keep you safe with their lives, but they are still men. You shouldn't be friendly with them. I wanted to challenge him, but then a thought struck me. This is my chance. Get his trust, make him vulnerable. I softened my tone, injecting a little hurt. Fun fact, they don't like me. They avoid me, like you have for the past 3 weeks and 1 day. He finally turned. The moonlight caught the pale blue of his eyes, visible above the mask. His night must have blacked on. I've not been avoiding you. I've been busy. Fine, I said, crossing my arms. Then you shouldn't have a problem with me playing around to pass the time. Something changed. His hand, resting on the stone, clenched into a fist. I couldn't see his mouth, but the tension in his jaw was sudden and stark. Is he angry? But you're scared of them, he stated, his gaze pinning me. Of them? How? Not of them. I mean, of me. His voice dropped. That night, you ran away. The memory of the honeycake's room flooded back. The fear, yes, but also the shocking kindness, the confusing pull. I felt my cheeks heat with something other than the cold. Embarrassment. Oh, that's not why I ran away. Then why? He took a step closer. The space between us on the small balcony vanished. Because, I stammered, my clever spy's script dissolving. His eyes were locked on mine, intense, waiting. Because your eyes, they look different. Gods, Alara, different? Nice, beautiful, whatever, I blurted, flustered. I didn't run away because I was scared of you. I froze, realizing what I'd just admitted. His own shock was a physical recoil. He took a half step back as if struck, his visible eye widening in something that looked like pure, unvarnished terror. What? Are you all right? I reached out, without thinking, my fingers brushing on his chest. He flinched at the...
Chapter 8. The Fool's Notes. Valerius. I have been avoiding her. Since that night in my chambers, not that I don't check on her, like the creep I am. I watch from the battlements when she walks in the bailey with Pop. I notice which books are disturbed in the library. I know she's reading the herbals, not the romances. She is even learning how to plant flowers and herbs with poplin. I want to stop her so she wouldn't get her hands dirty, but when Poplin told her, she didn't listen, and then they went to the market, and of course I couldn't leave my men to watch her. It feels like the only way to hold the line. Distance is my armor. I don't want to introduce her to my men, not because I don't trust them, but of course I don't. It's because she's not being all this, might be an act, and she might try to use them to get information. I've already informed them not to disrespect her, or they'll answer to me. But I got it all wrong. That day, she didn't run from me that night because she was scared of the monster. She ran because she was embarrassed, because of my eyes. They look good, beautiful. The words are on a loop in my head, shredding every defense I'd built. She'd like the room. She'd liked the honeycakes. She'd liked my eyes. She'd even touched my hand. And I've been hiding like a coward for 3 weeks, a day, and 23 hours, thinking I was sparing her my presence, when all I was doing was ensuring the only people she had to talk to were my stone-faced knights. I stare at her now, standing there, defiant on the balcony, the cold moonlight making her white and light blue dress seem to glow as she is talking, with her lips moving. I force myself to listen. Okay, I say, my voice rough. I'm sorry for avoiding you. I'll get you a maid soon. More maids. So stop doing anything in the kitchen. You don't have to help Pop. That's what she's here for. And you won't talk to the knights, too. She snaps, placing her hands on her hips. My eyes follow the movement, the way the fabric of her dress pulls and settles. She's all furious and beautiful. I will do whatever I want. She's an old lady. Whatever. Good night. Enjoy your party. She turns to leave, and I watch the way she moves in that dress. This is fine, but maybe I should get her more. Red. A deep red would be like fire against her hair. She'd look... She spins back, almost catching me staring. And don't send me jewelry again. I don't need them. No space for that. Oh, and by the way, who reads romance novels? There are a lot. I shake my head, pretending I don't know what she is taking about. Then she storms off, leaving me in the cold silence. I shake my head, a faint, disbelieving breath escaping me. "Good night, my little bunny," I say to the empty air. I walk back inside, the roar of the feast grating now. I go straight to the stairs, away from the noise. She doesn't like the romance books. The thought is a small, sharp disappointment. I'd had them brought from the capital, an entire collection. I remembered the little girl who'd sigh over stories of brave knights and lucky shepherdesses. She'd changed. Of course she had. I was a fool to think I could freeze her in a childhood memory. She has no space for jewelries. Noted. I'll have another drawer built in her chamber, a larger one. Then she will have space. Gabriel finds me in the armory, pretending to inspect a newly forged blade. "Well, hope you scare her back to her tower?" "No," I say, running a thumb along the sharp edge. "She scolded me for avoiding me, and we need to get more drawers." He stares at me. "Drawers?" "She needs more drawers," I said. A long, slow blink. "Val, focus. Is she a threat or not?" "I don't know," I answer truthfully. "Just make the drawer available as soon as possible." He looks at me as if I've just spoken in a foreign tongue. I can't wait to see her smile tomorrow when she sees what I've prepared. Gabriel might think I'm a fool right now, but for me, she's not scared of me, meaning she sees a man, not a myth, a man who can be avoided, scolded, and found lacking. Gabriel sighs, the sound weary. Living, plotting, it's a thin line. Just remember which side of it you need to stand on. He leaves me with the swords and my thoughts. I stand there for a long time, the noise of the celebration finally dying down below. "Note it," I murmured.
Chapter 9. The Accidental Charm. Alara. I woke up and immediately groaned into my pillow. I'd scolded him. I'd actually put my hands on my hips and told the Prince of Blackwood, the king's feared enforcer, what he could do. It was for the mission, I told myself, shoving the covers back. Everything is for the mission. The thought of the mission brought Ronan's face to mind. I hadn't thought of him in days. He hadn't written. He must be cautious, afraid Valerius would intercept a letter. It was smart. So why did I feel a faint prick of, not hurt, but something like neglect? Focus, Alara. He's trusting you to do your part. Valerius was the villain. He had to be, even if he brought me honey cakes and had winter sky eyes and apologized for avoiding me. Don't forget who the enemy is. A knock at the door broke my spiral. I scrambled up, expecting Pop. I pulled it open. It was him. He stood in the corridor, already dressed for travel in dark riding leathers, his cloak damp with morning mist. The mask was in place. He looks so good, I thought. "Good morning," he said, his voice a low rumble. "Morning," I squeaked, suddenly acutely aware of my sleep-tangled hair and thin nightgown. Oh, my face. "Is there anything you want me to do for you?" he asked. The question was stiff, formal, and avoided my eyes. "Yeah, maybe take off the mask so I can see your handsome face," I thought, the insane impulse flashing through my sleep-addled brain. I bit my tongue. "Nothing," I said, my voice too bright. "Okay, I'll be back early. I am leaving for the capital. Sure you don't want me to get anything?" "Not really. This is hard. The mission required closeness, trust. I was failing. Maybe we could have breakfast today," I offered, a weak attempt at the intimacy I was supposed to be building. He went utterly still. Then he turned slightly away, a clear rejection. "I can't. Sorry. Pop will bring you breakfast. I'll be back soon." He was walking away before I could process the sudden drop from a tentative offer to a cold shutdown. The corridor seemed to grow colder with his retreating back. Did I do anything wrong? The conversation had gone from 100 to 0 in a heartbeat. I'm really not good at this. Oh, the mask. He can't eat with me. He can't take off the mask. Of course he'd avoid a shared meal. The realization hit with a wave of frustration at the situation, at my own clumsiness. He was going to spend the whole day in the capital, and I'd be back to square one, the avoided wife. Without thinking, I bolted after him. "Wait, my lord!" I passed stairs leading to the main hall just as he was about to mount his horse, Gavril and a few other knights already mounted in the courtyard. I skidded to a halt, breathing heavily. "Strawberry cake," I said. He turned. Every knight in the vicinity turned, and I realized with a hot rush of horror that I was standing in nothing but my translucent pink nightgown, the morning light from the high windows rendering it practically non-existent. Valerius went rigid. "Sorry, I mean, honey cakes will do, with, something else," I stammered, my words a desperate, foolish attempt to cover the sheer impropriety of my appearance. But he wasn't listening to my words. His gaze was a physical force, sweeping over me, then snapping to the faces of the men in the hall. A low, dangerous tension crackled in the air. I gave an awkward, terrified little laugh. "I'll just go back." Never finished, he moved, in 3 swift strides. Before I could yelp, he carried me up. Oh my gosh, the world tilted. I was in his arms. I caught a glimpse of Gavril's face in the courtyard before Valerius spun and carried me back the way I'd come. "I can walk," I protested, my voice muffled against his cloak. He said nothing, not a word. His silence was more terrifying than any shout. He shouldered my chamber door open, crossed the room in 2 strides, and deposited me on the bed. Not a throw, but a deliberate, controlled placement. He then stepped back, putting distance between us, his chest rising and falling with a measured breath. When he spoke, his voice was like ground glass. "You should not wear things like that outside. I wouldn't want to remove my men's eyes who saw you like that." The gravity of what I'd done crashed down. I wasn't just a clumsy wife. In the eyes of this people, of his men, I could have been seen as trying to shame him, or worse, to charm his knights. My face burned with mortification. "I'm sorry," I whispered, the fight gone from me. I reached out without thinking, my fingers clutching the damp edge of his traveling cloak. I didn't mean to. I just wanted you." I cut myself off, horrified. "I mean, it was my fault for suggesting breakfast earlier, and then when you walked away like that, I thought you were going to avoid me again. That's why I—" He let out a shaky breath. Then, to my utter astonishment, he knelt on the stone floor in front of me. He took the hand that was clutching his cloak, his own large, calloused hand enveloping it gently. "It's not your fault," he said, his voice softer now, strained. "Don't worry. I'm sorry. I'll be back soon." He paused, his winter sky eyes holding mine with an intensity that stole my breath. "Wait for me." I smiled and nodded. Then he stood, released my hand, and was gone, the door closing softly behind him. I sat on the bed, my hand tingling where he'd held it, my heart hammering against my ribs. What was all that? I rolled on my bed. Did you just kneel in front of me? Oh my, that was... No, wait, I forgot I was acting. I think my brain just knew what to do, right? But a treacherous, quiet voice whispered in the aftermath. Wait, when did the acting actually start? Was it when I ran after him, or was it the moment he knelt, took my hand, and told me to wait? My eyes drifted from the ceiling to the small, sealed letter on my dresser, the one I was supposed to give to a traveling merchant to send to my father and my siblings, to tell them I was safe. They'd be so worried.
Maybe tomorrow, I thought, pulling the covers over my head, suddenly exhausted. I can't go outside now, not after that. Let's just sleep. 10. Chapter 10. The Flute and the Threat. Alara. The silence after Valerius left was heavy. My cheeks still burned from the morning's humiliation, but the mission was a cold, insistent pull in my chest. Evidence. You need evidence. I waited until the keep settled into its usual daytime rhythm, then slipped into his private study. The room was stark as its owner. I checked the desk drawers first. Ledgers, maps of the eastern border, supply lists. Nothing treasonous, just the dry paperwork of a lord managing his lands. No secret letters, no plans for usurpation. Frustrated, I moved to his bedroom, connected through a side door. I ran my hands under the mattress, checked the chest at the foot of the bed, spare tunics, boots, a whetstone, nothing. My eyes fell on the small bedside table. In its single drawer, nestled in a fold of cloth, was a flute. Not just any flute. It was wooden, exquisitely carved, and the mouthpiece was a tiny, delicate bird with its wings swept back. My breath hitched. A memory, fragile as a moth's wing, fluttered at the edge of my mind. The woods. I was small, maybe 7. I'd run away after a scolding, deep into the forest until I found a lake. And there was a boy, sitting on a mossy stone. He was playing a flute. The sound was so lonely and beautiful it had stopped my tears. He had hair as dark as the soil under the pines, and when he'd finally noticed me, his eyes, they were a shocking, vivid blue. I'd thought he was the most beautiful person I'd ever seen. My child self had been instantly, hopelessly fallen in love. I can't believe I fell for a child I met just because his eyes were beautiful. I smiled faintly at the memory. What is silly? Hold up. My smile vanished. Valerius had the same eyes, that exact winter sky blue. Is he? My heart gave a wild leap before reason crashed down. No, the boy had black hair. Valerius is golden. And blue eyes weren't that rare. It was just a coincidence, a cruel, confusing coincidence. Slowly, I placed the bird flute back in its drawer, shutting away the strange tug of nostalgia. It was nothing, a trinket. It proved nothing about treason, only that my husband had an appreciation for wood carving. I left the room, the mission feeling more futile than ever.
Don't forget to like, share, and turn on your notification to know when I upload the next part.